Randy Stevenson is from the State Board of Education.
Good morning. I had to get up. If you don't mind, I feel closed in behind this. I'm running for State Board of Education. It's a low-profile position, but I feel very convicted about what is happening with our children in the future of Texas. And that's why I'm here today. I drove in from Tyler, Texas. I had meetings all day yesterday and last night and got up. And you know, then I look on the TV and I see these guys running for president and they talk about getting 3 or 4 hours sleep. I can't imagine what they go through. Because I'm 57 years old and I feel it. This isn't my first time around. I served on the State Board of Education from 1995 to 1999. I was 40 years old when I ran then. And there's a little difference in energy levels. But I'm as energized as I've been in years because I feel like this is something that actually God has called me to do. Somebody needs to do something, and I'm here. So let me tell you a little bit about why, when most people are trying to get ready for retirement, in fact in my work that's what I help people do, I am doing this. State Board of Education is a 15-member board here in Texas. It's an elected board, and it's an opportunity for people like us to have a voice in the education of our children. The State Board of Education oversees curriculum. They manage the permanent school fund. They set curriculum guidelines and graduation requirements, and they also approve textbooks. Now, many people don't understand that there are really 2 states in the union that have strong state boards of education. California is one of them, and Texas is the other. And historically, what has happened is the textbook publishers would publish a California version to be approved by their state and for their schools, and then they would come over to Texas for our approval. And that's when all the debates and fights and discussion and things that you hear about on the state board begin, which I think is very healthy, because what is happening there is we Texans are saying we're not as liberal as they are out there in California. We want some changes made to our textbooks. And so the rest of the nation really has a choice of the more liberal California version or the more conservative Texas version. And that's it. So it is critical. And what happens on our State Board of Education, because of that, really impacts the United States, the nation. It impacts children across the nation. So here I am again in 2012 running. There are some issues I'd like to discuss with you. First of all, my current State Board of Education member is a man I didn't vote for. Your State Board of Education member is a person you didn't vote for either. He's been in office 1 year. His name is Tom Ratliff. He is a registered lobbyist. That's what got my attention at first, a registered lobbyist. I'm sorry, but I have issues and kind of problems with ex-congressmen and state legislators and U.S. senators becoming lobbyists and using their influence to benefit corporations, okay, after they retire, after they leave office. Folks, we've got a guy that is a lobbyist now, and he is representing you as a public official. Senate Bill 1 and the Texas Education Code prohibit a lobbyist from serving on the State Board of Education if there are any conflicts of interest. Your state board member recused himself from 2 votes during his first meeting last January because of a conflict of interest. This chairman of the board asked the Attorney General to take a look at it. He came out with his ruling last August. By then I decided I would run no matter what happened. And the Attorney General upheld that rule and said if there are any conflicts of interest, a person may not serve. If he's a lobbyist, that person may not serve on the board. My opponent said, well, there's no conflicts of interest because I've amended all my contracts now and I'm good to go. And the voters knew I was a lobbyist when they elected me, which I found a lot of people weren't aware of that. But the bottom line is, you haven't voted for this person. He's been in office 1 year. He has 1 year of experience, and I've got a 2-page deal on mistakes he's made, things he has done in the last year that I think are wrong. I have 4 years of experience being a consistent, conservative, balanced voice for the people on the State Board of Education, recognized by both sides of the aisle as being a conservative, one who will stand for what I believe. I'll do what I tell people I'll do, but I'm balanced and I listen to the other side and seek wisdom before making decisions. Now, 3 things I'd like to briefly touch on that are close to my heart on the state board. First of all, I believe that the curriculum, the content in our curriculum is critical. Texas is doing a very good job and has since 2008 of going back and rewriting our curriculum, course specific, grade level specific, to make it easier, I believe, on our educators. Many Americans don't realize it, but we all are aware of Obamacare. But there is a national core curriculum standard and some race to the top money that the national government, the Obama administration, is using to take over public schools in the United States and to nationalize them, and you probably haven't heard about it. 45 states have signed on. At one time it looked like 49 states were signing on, but one state said no. Robert Scott, our Commissioner of Education, probably the best commissioner we've had in 50 years, and our governor looked at that and they went to Washington and they said, no thank you, Texas will control Texas schools. And I thank both of them for that. Since then, 4 or 5 other states have backed off of it. Several are moving forward and they're already into financial trouble. You know, they take that race to the top money to get started and then they find out the costs are prohibitive and it's really a mess. But what that is a national standardization of curriculum and textbooks so everything will be controlled at Washington, D.C. for the country. That's what these guys want. That's what the bureaucracy wants in D.C. That's what the NEA wants, the teachers' unions. You saw how they acted in Wisconsin. And we have them here through TSTA and other associations. That's what the left-wing organizations want. So I will stand firm to make sure that Texas controls Texas schools, okay? Yeah. Second thing, teachers, educators. Folks, we've got to embrace and empower and help our teachers. We hear a lot about needing more boots on the ground in war zones. We need more teachers in the classroom. We need to help them. We need to get the federal and the state mandates off their back, get rid of that paperwork, get rid of the testing that they're going through, and allow them to do what they love to do, and that is teach our children. And by the way, I'm a veteran, and you know what? Whenever we have Memorial Day or Veterans Day in church and different meetings, I'll have the veterans stand. Would any educators, retired or current, or teachers, would you stand and let us applaud you for what you do for our kids in our country? Thank you. Thank you. Am I already out of time? Okay. Teachers. Third thing, academics. Listen, both of my kids have either graduated or are about to graduate from graduate school. I'm real into higher education. Education changed my life. But do you realize that only 50% of the kids that graduate from our high schools ever set foot in a college classroom? Now, I want good, high academic content. I want high standards. But we need opportunities. What does a high school diploma in Texas get a kid today that knows he is not going to college for whatever reason? I say it gets you a minimum wage job at Walmart if he's lucky, if he or she is lucky. We need to go back and relook at what we're doing at high school at the junior and senior level and bring in some IT courses, some professional vocational type courses, some exposure. Businessmen tell me they can't grow because they don't have kids that can even read tape measures. We need to go back to some fundamentals, and I'll say this. America represents 5% of the world's population, yet we consume 25% of the world's fuel, the world's energy. And the rest of the world says, you greedy, selfish Americans. And our government right now in the White House says, you selfish Americans. But do you know what? This 5% of the world's population produces 27% of the world's gross domestic product. We are productive. We produce over a fourth of the world's products and services worldwide, right here in this country. And we're conceding everything to China. And I say, stop that. Let's equip these kids to come in and let's take it back and become an industrial giant again and get that up to 30%, 35%. Now, I only have a couple of things to say. All right, thank you. I appreciate this. I know it's a low, it doesn't pay a dime, by the way. I'm doing this because I care. Now, it's a hard race to run. It's low profile, not a lot of fundraisers. I cover 31 counties. I have a brochure on your table that shows the map. Okay? 31 counties. I'm working as hard as I have ever worked. I also have here on each table a sign-up sheet. would you please consider putting your name and email address so I can communicate with you, because my opponent is a left-wing person, okay? He's supported by left-wing groups and organizations, and he has already begun the smear tactics. He raised $17,000 before January 1st. Not one dime came from within the district. It all came out of Austin. Look it up. I raised $5,300 from people like you. He's done, these guys have also, the groups that he's running with, have recruited a liberal to run as a Republican against every conservative on the board. They want to take it over. They want to move towards the national core curriculum standards, and they're determined to do it, and they're financing, and I know their game. They're going to smear me. So, I've done nothing in the last 30 years that I wouldn't talk about with you. I'm not perfect. But if you will put your name on that email list, I'll do two things. I'll communicate with you. I will ask you to communicate with me with any questions you may have. And I will also send to you quarterly newsletters, and when I am on the board serving you. 7 sentences and I'm done. Okay? The difference between me and my opponent, he's the incumbent. If you don't remember our names, just remember you need a change. I look at politics as service. He looks at politics, and has for 20 years, as a way to make money. I support the teachers. He supports the teacher union leadership. I go to the people. He goes to his corporate clients. Look at the people that are financing him. I believe in state control. He supports national control. I support the Islam resolution passed by the board, which said that the anti-Christian and pro-Islamic language and rhetoric will be taken out of the books. He says that shouldn't have happened. He does not support that resolution. I'm a conservative. He is not a conservative. Go to my website. I've got an 8-minute radio interview where he explains that he is a moderate and why he is not a conservative. I'm a conservative. And he is a lobbyist, and I'm not a lobbyist. So the choice is clear. I appreciate your prayers, your support, and your communication. God bless you, and pray for
Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another set of rulers. But only here did that little band of men so advanced beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since evolve the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.